Welcome to Hurry Up and Pass. My name is Aaron. I've been playing Magic for 15 years, and I think that you are late to draft night and maybe don't know how to do it, or maybe just want to be slightly better because you keep getting annihilated. So today, we're going to learn how to build a 40-card limited deck in 7 minutes or less. We're going to be using the B.R.E.A.D method. This is deemed out of date. If you're a longtime player, I'm sorry you have to listen to me. Bombs, removal, evasion, advantage, and duds. Bombs being big, hard to deal with creatures that can take over the game all by themselves if your opponent doesn't interact with it. Removal, you need a way to deal with your opponent's big threats that could take over the game if you don't deal with it. So removal is the second most important thing to have in your deck to win. Evasion, you want to be able to avoid opponent's creatures and removal spells, so creatures that have flying, trample, hexproof, unblockable. I would consider all that evasion, and it just enhances a creature above what it normally would be. Advantage, things that draw you cards, things that can replace themselves. These are things that can help you dig through your deck so you can find a removal spell or find your bomb when you need it most. And lastly, duds. You need to have 23 cards in your deck with 17 lands. Inevitably, you're not going to have the most optimized deck, and you're going to have to fill it out with other cards in the colors you choose. We're going to be building a 2-color deck. We're going to open each pack one at a time. This will work in draft when you're looking for the cards, and it especially works in sealed since you have all the time to read the cards and you don't have the pressure of passing it to your left or right. We're going to start by opening our first pack, and what we're going to be looking for just right now is only bombs and removal, nothing else. Sort into color. Okay, so we've opened all 6 of our packs, and we've separated the removal spells and the bombs up top. So if you look, which piles have the most cards? We've got white, black, and red being our top picks. Because you're a new player, I don't want you to get bogged down at all. We are going to remove all the blue cards from our area and all the green cards from our pile as well. We only want to focus on the colors that are well represented in the bombs and removal category. So white, black, and red. Let's just look at our bombs and removal. It's looking like white is a sure shot because we got the most in there and we got a good selection below. So let's say white is for sure going to be played in our deck just to make this easier on ourselves. Now the choice is between black and red. If you look here, our black pile is actually quite low versus our red pile. I got more red, so I'll have more choices in deck building, and the CMC of our removal in black is a little bit on the high side. Sure, we do have this 2 rares in black, so there is an argument to be made that maybe black is the way to go. But let's say for ease, let's go with red. So let's remove all the black cards as well. If you're in a pre-release event, you can open up your little booklet here, and it will make a suggestion on how to build your curve, how many spells in each slot you should have, and why. So let's clear some room, and let's start building our deck. We're going to build it into 2 columns. We're going to do creatures above and non-creature spells below. We want to have 2/3 creatures, 1/3 spells. So we want to start building it all the way out, and we want to have more cards kind of in the 2 to 3 section than we do in the 5, 6, and higher section. This is to make sure that early in the game you have spells to cast. If it's turn 2 or 3 and you haven't cast a spell yet, you're going to lose the game, for sure. So don't do that. Let's go through the next section, evasion. So let's start with our white pile, and let's look for anything that would have evasion. So we've got a flying creature. That's great, that is evasion, so let's add that to our pile. Creatures you control get +2/+1. That is a pump spell. I would consider that nothing right now. Flying. So we got another flying creature. Menace and reach, that is evasion. So let's add that to our deck. So that is 4. Menace. All right, great. Another one, evasion. So if you look at this deck, right now it looks like we're pretty heavy on the 4 drops, and the top end of our deck is at 5 mana. But we really want to start filling out our 2 and 3 slot. Flowerfoot Swordmaster, one that gives upside. Great. We'll call this a mana sink. So in limited, you're going to find that you have a lot of mana left over on some of your turns because this is not commander, this is not highly optimized. So let's say this is good. So here's another creature. which definitely has upside. So this can be sacrificed to destroy target artifact or enchantment. So this creature can double as removal. Thinking about advantage, this gives it's a pump spell and it also draws a card. So let's say that a yes to that too. When it enters, exile the top card of your library. Until your next turn, you may play that card. I would say this could fit into the deck as advantage. However, it is the highest CMC 4 right now. So let's say no to this. We've gone through bombs, removal, evasion, advantage, and duds, and we have 23 cards. We haven't talked about 2-color spells and artifacts. So the thing about 2-color creatures is that they're usually tentpole creatures. They try to push you into an archetype, which is not how we're building our deck. However, we've built our deck now, so maybe these archetypes just so happen to fit into our game plan. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a 1/1 counter. I would say no. Okay, this is white flyer, that's evasion, great. When it attacks, you gain a life. That's actually quite good. We have that one bomb that whenever we gain a life, there's an effect. This just means we gotta make one cut. So let's add it to our deck for now. So 3-tree mascot. So this is something that can do mana fixing. So let's also maybe add this to our deck because this can actually help mana fix us when we're in trouble. We've also got our lands. Any sort of cards that can help you filter color mana is quite good in Limited and you should value it quite highly. And we have to make 2 cuts. But this is the moment where every deck is going to be different. If it was my suggestion on where to start, look at where your mana curve is, and if you're a bit on the higher end, which we are here, maybe consider cutting a card in your higher CMC slot before you consider cutting a card in your lower CMC slot. Maybe Menace on its own isn't as powerful as Menace in Reach. So maybe for this circumstance, we'll cut this creature and keep this one. And we actually have 2 of it, so maybe do I need 2? Menace, Reach, 3/3 isn't quite enough, so maybe we only need 1. So maybe we cut both these. Now the final step is to be adding basic lands. When adding basic lands, you want to count all the pips of all the colors you have. So you count how many white pips you have and how many red pips you have in this circumstance. So we've got 12 red and 14 white. So we've already got 2 other non-basic lands here, so we need to add 15 more lands. 8 white and 7 red. Okay, so we built the deck based on the B.R.E.A.D method. We've got 40 cards in front of us. We prioritize bombs and removal, and we filled out our curve with evasion, advantage engines, and dud cards. We then counted up the pips and we added lands based on that ratio. What's great about this method is that it's easy to identify bombs and removal as a new player. You've likely played Commander and you know what a big creature can do. So going into this game, you'll see how other players have built their decks, and you will learn. And the more that you play Limited, the more you see how synergies, archetypes, and combos can work together. This is just a jumping off point for new players, and hopefully that you can learn and become better as time goes on. So if you have any comments or concerns, please place them down below. We're always happy to help new players, and I don't want you to get pub stomped by that one guy at your LGS this week.